Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Eliteserien Fantasy. This is the third video we make for Eliteserien Fantasy season 2020, but it's the first one since March or April, I can't remember, since the COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome everyone again to the live stream, and sorry for the delay that we had some technical problems. As you can see, no cameras, we are not visible, but hopefully the voice is clear and the info is there to provide you with everything you need to know about the Eliteserien Fantasy. It is back. 16th of June is the first fixture. We are looking forward to it. And today I'm joined by FPL Viking as a new signing, I would say, for our streams. He will join me and Espen throughout the next season to provide us with all the updates and the news and, of course, the scores of Eliteserien Fantasy. First of all, FPL Viking, welcome and tell me, how are you? Introduce yourself to the viewers. Who are you? Where are you from? And which team you support? And since when you started playing Eliteserien Fantasy?
Yes, hello, first of all, and thank you for having me. Yes, I am Norwegian, as Espen, and we come from the same town as well. And I have always watched the Eliteserien, but I never played the fantasy game serious because I felt like it ruined the way I watched my own team, which is Viking. So it's only like this season where I'm going to try and play serious and not thinking about it affecting me watching Viking.
Okay, nice. I mean, it's sometimes really hard to play fantasy football without having the bias towards your teams. Sorry, you are a Viking, so you have to load up maybe on Viking players. This is also part of the game. It's not wrong, or it's fine to have that, but it's to find the balance, of course.
I feel like it depends on which team you support. If you support the bottom half team, it's a bit difficult to get in some players, maybe. So last year I was a bit lucky when Viking did so good.
Yes. That's amazing. That's amazing. And of course, we hope that you are doing very well during this incredible, tough time. Of course, we don't have to forget that safety first. And we hope that everyone and the listeners have had a safe time and look forward to the new fantasy season. We know you from Twitter. You can tell us your Twitter trend, how the viewers can find you. And what is special about your account and yourself as well? What do you do mostly on Twitter?
Yes, my Twitter handle is FPLViking10. And I started up on Twitter on like a year ago and found this community first, the Premier League community. And then I found out there was a massive community in the Eliteserien as well. I thought it was only Norwegians who played this game. So I thought that with my knowledge of Eliteserien, I could make some threads and some tips and responding back to people and stuff like that.
Oh, nice, amazing. And we were impressed by the stats you posted. We don't have still the website, the stats blog that have access to everyone or give access to everyone, like Fantasy Football Scout, for example. You can have tables, you can create your own for Fantasy Premier League. That's still not here yet with Eliteserien Fantasy. Hopefully in the next few years or so. But for now, we will rely on the stats we get from different softwares. And of course, people like you who are very valuable to Twitter. Of course, if you are here, dear follower, dear viewer, for the first time, you can also play the game by going to, if you need the English version, it's en.eliteserien. Is it? Well, let me get the link again because it feels a bit rusty. Yes, en.fantasy.eliteserien.no if you want the English version. And of course, if you are playing the game for the first time, just as Fantasy Premier League, it is a game where you can create a team of 15 players. Here is the picture I put on the screen. Just like FPL, 100 Norwegian kunas.
I think it is the same creators who made the same game.
Yeah, it makes sense because it has the same system, same theme as well. And you can pick 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 3 forwards. And of course, we had a couple of videos for this season. We will reveal the prices and we share our thoughts about it. So we will skip that part. That does not change. You can go back to the previous videos and have a look at them. But first, we have big news, which is the just came in today with the transfer market. A player from Stabaek has moved to Molde. Tell us about him, Jacob. And do you think he will get a game time, because his price is very interesting?
Yes, I guess the player you're talking about is Ola Brynildsen, he is 21 years old. He's a promising talent and plays for the under 21s national team. And he had some problems last season with his contract going out, and he didn't want to sign a new one with Stabaek. So finally, he has signed for Molde, and the deal was supposed to happen on the 1st of July, but Molde asked if they could get him right away. So today it was confirmed that he will come to Molde, but I think it will just make it picking Molde players even harder, because I don't think he is a regular starter for them, but he will get some game time, of course.
Well, that's an interesting one. At 7 million, he could be a cheap route to Molde.
Yes.
But indeed, there are a lot of interesting options as well. We don't forget Ekrem. We don't forget Histad. Some other players as well in the midfield. So it's gonna be a tough one. But for now, you can actually get 4 Molde players for the time being, right? Because he's not transferred yet to a Molde player. So potentially you can look in for spots for a short time until you decide. But it's a trade that will not last once you start to make transfers. Speaking about the fixtures now, we have great news that the first 3 game weeks has been released, and I'm sharing 2 tables here. One of them from our friend from last season, FPL Stabaek, who's done an incredible job with creating a table with a fixture ticker, given the difficulty, and another one that you, Jacob, yourself created as well. So we will go through that. Both of the tables, nothing much in difference in terms of the fixtures, but it's just the view how difficult it is for the opponent from your perspective. So, Jacob, if you want to start looking at the table, the first probably 3 teams that stand out is Molde, the champion, with the second tough fixture against Rosenborg, but amazing first and third fixture. Stabaek and Odd have arguably the best start of the season. So give us your thoughts on these 3 teams, and where should we load up put our money on?
Yeah, as you said, first with Molde, I don't think it really matters who they have, because there's a good that I think they're fixture proof, at least with offensive players. And when they have 2 promoted sides in the first 3 game weeks, that's very good fixtures for them. And the Rosenborg match at home, they won, I don't exactly remember, I think they won like 3-0 or something last season. So they are very good fixtures. And Odd and Stabaek, as you said, has the best fixtures on paper. I would load more up on Stabaek because Odd has a new coach, Fagermo, who has gone to Vålerenga, was there for the last 12 years. So no one really knows how they will play this season, but they have really good fixtures, as you say.
Yeah, and this change of the fixtures introduced a big name from last season, who's priced at 11 million. He was not in many drafts at the beginning, but since the new announcement, he became more popular, and it's Borvin. So basically, 11 million for a striker who had his best ever season last season. There are a lot of talks that he might make a move to another team, Valoringa, I think, with the coach, but it's not certain yet. A lot of rumors here. Will he be flop? What do you think of Borvin?
I have him in my team as of now, but as you said, he has been linked to Vålerenga. He has also been linked to teams abroad, like Anderlecht in Belgium. So, and his contract is finished in the summer now. So I haven't seen any news on him signing a new one. So I have him in my team for now, but if they don't sign a new one, I think maybe he will not play that much because Odd won't let him play.
Mm-hmm. Well, just one of those players to keep an eye on as the preseason goes. Stabaek, they have great fixtures. They have cheap players, very valuable players. Sandberg, the goalkeeper, the legendary goalkeeper, he's in my team at 6 million. At
Yes,
some
mine too.
stages, I think he's overpriced because how the players. He's not overpriced, but it's difficult for me to afford it anymore because of how expensive the other outfield players are. That makes sense. But still, he's an incredible value. He is getting clean sheets, the most clean sheets of last season by 12 after Molde. I think the second highest, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of save points as well. So you said Sandberg is still in your team.
Yes,
You
he's
think
my team.
are you considering another goalkeeper maybe and get a defender from Stabaek, or Sandberg is just a different option from Stabaek?
If I'm in need of like 0.5 million, I could downgrade Sandberg to Rosbach, who plays for Odd, who is 5.5, I think. And I've also seen a lot of drafts where people have gone for the Strømsgodset keeper, Myhre. But I think I want either Rosbach or Sandberg for my first.
Mm-hmm. Any 4.5 goalkeepers that may be good options? Sandefjord, Alisand. That doesn't seem like teams that they will keep many clean sheets.
You have to depend on save points at least, and the occasion. You never know in Eliteserien. Sometimes a team, Sandefjord, could go to Rosenborg or Molde and get a clean sheet. But if I would go for a 4.5 goalkeeper, I'd maybe go for the Strømsgodset keeper.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very interesting. Speaking about the teams, the three fixtures, I've moved to the table you created, and tell us a bit about your how to say it, about your logic behind picking the colors and the difficulty for these teams.
Yes, every season when the fixtures gets released, I make one of these, and it's just on my opinion of what have happened last season, the new signings of the teams, how the teams perform home and away, because in Eliteserien, it's a big difference playing away versus playing at home.
Yeah, true.
So I go from there and I put out the fixtures, and red is a difficult fixture, yellow is it's a tough fixture, slightly green, I will say that's a good fixture, and very green, that's a very good fixture.
Very nice, very nice. And I see a lot of greens with Molde and Stabaek, as we mentioned. Brand looks to have like some, I don't know if it's easy or tough. It's something in between with Haggesund away, Viking, and Alisand.
The two first matches there is like local derbies, so it's hard to predict how they are.
Yeah, and if we just spend a minute on your team, Viking as well. Bodø Glimt at home, Brann away, and Mjøndalen at home. Berisha has moved to Viking, surprisingly, and he's classified as a striker at 9 million. He did not justify 9.5 at Brann last season. So, do you think he will have a good season this one, or is it tricky with him?
I think he will have a better season than last season, but that's not so difficult to do, because I think he only scored 3 goals. And now he is in a team which he is happy to be in. I think he will be one of the leaders. I have heard that he's probably on penalties because Bjarne Berntsen, the Viking manager, wants him to get the confidence up and score as many goals as he can. So maybe not from the start, but I think Berisha could be a good striker.
Another option from Viking in midfield was Delanley. He moved from Rosenborg. At 7.5, he looks to be maybe the best option to start from Viking. What do you think? He's in my draft.
Yes, it was a big when I was younger. He was my big favorite player from Viking, and he was for a lot of fans from Viking. But then he moved to Rosenborg, a bit like when Berisha went to Viking. Now there was a lot of hate towards it, but now he has come back to Viking, and hopefully he will have a good season. But I have heard that he has been a bit injured, and he is often injured. He is injury prone. So if he is fit, I think he will be very good for Viking this season.
Okay. Well, part of the stream we will go through the questions, but since we have questions about something we already mentioned from on Stabaek in particular, Heskebo, our follower from last season, and also he has a great account where he posts a lot of Eliteserien content. He's asking, Stabaek with a great fixture have lots of good options through the team. Could you talk us through who you think the standout are and why? So we mentioned Sandberg and how incredible value he will offer regardless of his price. Any outfield options from the defense or the midfield or possibly the attack?
Yeah, we have to also mention that Espen, who couldn't be with us today, gathered some information about Stabaek, but there is a lot of good options and cheap options from Stabaek. And their defense, as you said, had 12 clean sheets last season. And they have signed 2 new fullbacks in Solheim, which is 5 million, I think, and Jonsson, who is only 4.5. And both are set to be nailed in that starting 11.
Nice.
And I see in a lot of people have also gone for the likes of Buhinen, which he is also kind of cheap, I think.
6 million only. He was
6 million, yes.
He wasn't in one of my drafts, but I'm not sure anymore because he was confused last season between a central midfielder or a deep central midfielder. So
yes,
yeah.
And he was on a Norwegian podcast like last week, I think, and they asked him what his favorite position was to play, and he answered that he likes to play deep in midfield. So I don't expect a lot of points from him there. But when they played Viking in a friendly earlier this year, he was on penalties, so that could be good. And he also often gets a lot of bonus points because he is a favorite among the commentators.
Yeah, that's also a critical point for those who are playing the first time. The bonus points is something given by the commentators, so it's also in consideration. I remember Diop from last season, Christiansen. He was 4.5 central midfielder. He's got 0 goals, 0 assists, but 21 bonus points. He left the Eliteserien now. I'm not sure where, but he was a legend on my bench, and he came on for many times with 6 and 7 points, just picking up bonuses. So it's something to take into account as well. Yeah. Anything else on Stabaek?
As you have the 2 obvious ones, as long with the fullbacks, you have Hanke Olsen and Amankwa, which is the center backs, and they both have potential to score on some corners, although the main back from last year, Jeppe Mo, is injured for the rest of the season, and he is also the set piece taker for Stabaek. So maybe that's a handicap for them. Offensively, they have lost Brynhildsen. So as Espen said to us earlier, Edvardsen which I've seen in also in many drafts, at only 6.5, is set to be nailed this season, and they have big belief that he will have a good season this year. Other than that, maybe Kinoshita at 6.5, the striker. 6.0, sorry.
Ah.
Have scored a lot of goals in preseason, but I think he will share a lot of game time with Asemi, so maybe not so safe to go with him.
All right. Well, that's great info from Espen. Thanks to him. Hopefully he'll catch us next time. And
Yes.
great news on Stabaek, who looks to be the best team with the fixtures.
We also have to mention the new signing from Malmö, the loan signing. He hasn't been added to the game yet, but his name is Romain Gall, who has played in the Europa League for Malmö, and they have belief in Stabaek that he will be very good this season as well.
Interesting one. Look forward to that. I don't know how much, what price will he be given, but I don't think he will be that expensive. He will be between the 6 and 7 million, I think. Yeah. A question we have already on one of the promoted sides, and his status became the opposite of Borven. He was attractive, very attractive, and now people start to ship him out. It's Castro, and at 8.5 million. If you look at the fixtures, they are not bad. But at the same time, you think it's tougher than before. So is he still in your draft? And at 8.5, is he justified with these fixtures?
He's not in my draft as of now. I have to choose between him and Dunham from Vålerenga. And when I saw the fixtures, I went with Dunham. But the numbers he had last season in Obosligaen and the numbers he had in preseason is very good. But I don't know about the price being so high for a team that's not necessarily that good is optimal.
Yeah, Castro has Molde at home, which is not ideal start. Christiansen away, which could mean that teams away are not doing as good as home games, so it could be tough on paper. And Bran at home. Bran, they were not good offensively last season, but they were solid at the back. Now Vormgård has gone. I don't know if they replaced him, but would that make Castro's route a bit easier to scoring? I'm not sure about that. So
I think if you want to gamble on earlier matches, you want Castro as your captain versus Bran, because last time he faced them, which was in February, I think, he scored a hat-trick against them.
Oh.
So I think he likes to play against Bran. But yeah, I don't think Bran they have signed Kolskogen, a young center back, but they haven't replaced Vormgård really. So I don't know if they are so good defensively this year.
Well, that's intriguing to have a look at that. Okay, so that's what we've got with regards to some fixture announcements, some transfer news. Now I think it's time to update our drafts. So I'll put your team first here, Jacob. I see you start with a 4-4-2 formation. Talk us through your picks and who is sort of like confirmed to be in your team and who may make away and who is on the watch list for you.
Yes, I've gone for a 4-4-2, and I think even if I change out some players, I will go for that. Because I see a lot of value in defense this year. And there is so difficult to manage the high prices of the attacking players. So I've gone for Sandberg in goal, because I think they have the best defense in the league with the fixtures they have. And I've also gone for Jonassen, the Stabaek defender, which is set to be nailed, and it's very cheap in that defense. I've also gone for Odd because of their fixtures. And the Buyang I've seen in a lot of teams because he plays in like a wing back position. So I think he will be good this year. Other than that, the big standout here is maybe that I don't have Eikrem, but I've gone for Hesta instead. As I think if you have James, Berven, and Helland, it's very high price if you want to go with Eikrem as well. So I had to choose between James and Eikrem.
Yeah. And Borvin as well, he makes your team. And talk us your bench. I see Gibson, Bird. These are cheap options with could be gems for us. We have a section afterwards where we'll talk about some players with really opportunity to have game time, and they are really cheap in each position. But do you think that Gibson and Bird could be good options as well?
Berg is a bit like Buhinen when we talked earlier, that he is nailed in the team, but he will most likely play as a defensive midfielder. But he is also popular among the commentators, so could get some bonus points. And at that price for a nailed starting player, I thought he was a good option. And I think it is important this year to have a good bench, because the season starts the 16th of June. So they have to play a lot of games. The 3 first fixtures, when they were announced, they are in the midweek, and then they play at the weekend again, and then the third round is at the midweek again. So it's important to have a good bench.
And of course, they have increased the number of substitutes to 5 instead of 3.
Yes.
Right. So they will give opportunities for sure to more players. So it might be that just pick up the expensive players that you sure somehow, we are not sure of anything yet, but who are likely to play 90 minutes, and spread the love across your team just to be on a balance. If some expensive player misses out, then you have someone actually come on from the bench. Gibson, he is your third striker. How high his chances to have a game time?
He didn't play a lot last year when they got promoted, but in preseason he has played very much, and he scored 6 goals before they cut the preseason because of coronavirus. So he was in very good form, and scored a hat-trick against Lillestrøm, who was relegated last year. And they lost the top scorer, Sandefjord, from last season. So the striker position is up for grabs for him and another striker called Gusios, who is is cost a little bit more than
Interesting one. And in goalkeeper Granlund, I don't think he's a starting one. He's a 4.0, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yes. All right. So, well, it's a solid draft. I like that a lot. I like the start of a 4-4-2 at the beginning of the season when the budget is limited. In my case, I've tried to squeeze a 3-4-3. And
yes, that's my favorite formation. So
it is, but I think it's the best. It's one of the best as the season goes on when you start building value. I've put here my team. There are some differences, but also similar players. I've stuck with Sandberg for all the reasons that you mentioned, and he is a proof. A pedigree player for Eliteserien. You know what you get from him. Yes. I went for Hagen. I needed a cover from Molde. I like to have a cover from Molde. Hagen, the second part of the season, he was a tremendous with the assists, with the bonus points as well. Much better than Harald's side. He's more expensive, so I like to have that expensive defender, because it makes it easier to downgrade when I need, or to switch when I have a similar bracket player who stands out. Stolas has left the draft, sadly. I don't think that they have the best fixtures. I think I know what I will get from him, but because of the long injury, and the tough start of Harrison, I think he went from a nailed on in my team to a wait and see. And if he bangs, then I'll be quick to get him in my team, possibly for Hayden if that's what it cost me. Semp is the cheapest route from Odd. Odd did not keep many clean sheets last season, although Rude was the best one in terms of fantasy points. So I think an investment at 5 million from Odd for unknown team as how he will perform could be a good investment. Not over invested in it. Jonathan, the one you mentioned from Stabaek, he made my draft. I've heard good things about him, and I've got Brian Heltzen, the guy that has moved to Molde, just to block that spot at 7 million. Someone maybe, it depends really if he gets game time or not. But I think that he might change. But I just got him already just to see how things go. Dinlanley is my pick from Viking. I think he will offer good value. At 7.5 is not overpriced. What I like about the 7.5 bracket is that there are several options you can switch if they fail. So good fixture, probably not the best one against Bodo Glimt as to start with, but the next two are good. Castro, I have a good feeling about this guy. I don't know him. I didn't watch a lot of him, but the hype on the community about how good he was, the numbers, of course, from last season and the preseason suggest that he's a talisman. So 8.5, he's the most expensive attacking from a promoted team. I've read that on the official website. But let's see. I mean, if Castro fails, then you can always switch him. Hager is the pick from Bodo Glimt. It was between him and Singernagel, and I liked what Singernagel did last season, but there is a lot of uncertainty about Bodo Glimt because of Layuni and Evian, who left the team. So I'm not sure anymore how they perform. And Strand Larsen has made my draft. I also have a good feeling about him. He will do a good season. So James and Borvin as well. Boyang is a pick from the bench. Potentially some good game time. Berg for the same reason you mentioned, and an inactive goalkeeper. That's my team. Maybe I will see some changes in midfield. If you look, I don't have Haaland or Ekrem, so I feel like I'm missing the big hitter in midfield. But I've invested a lot in attack, so
it is a bit like that this year. If you invest in your attack, you have less money for your midfield, and the other way around. So I think if you're going to play with three strikers this year, you have to compromise with your midfield.
Which I think.
But I saw about Haaland that Haaland was injured. They reported now in the Norwegian newspaper that Haaland has got a small injury in his foot, so he's out for 2 to 3 weeks, which he could still be able to make the season opener, but as we know with Haaland, he has a lot of injury problems, so I have to wait and see with him as he is in my team.
Yeah, well, that's concerning. For pretty much maybe the best player of Rosenborg now. I mean, who is left? I think one of Adegbenro left the club, or he stayed there. The wingers of
Akintola was the one who left the club.
Yeah, Akintola has left. Yeah, so Adegbenro, is he an alternative option? I think he's a bit cheaper at 10 million, but
he's a bit cheaper, but he hasn't really delivered a good season for Rosenborg yet. But if Haaland is out, I believe he will get some game time, of course. And he was in Viking before he came to Rosenborg, and he was like the messias when he played for Viking, because he has a very good. When he's on form, he's very good, but not a lot of goals and assists. More like beating a player 1v1 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you want a cheap, if Haaland is out, I've heard that a player named Seide Konradsen, who got bit game time last year. He is 7.5, I think, and he is in the preseason matches. He was playing in front of Adi Benro. Let's see if I can find him here. Yes, say this 7.5, an attacking winger who could get a lot of game time this year for Rosenborg.
Interesting name, interesting pick. Well, we'll keep an eye on him. And yeah, that's about the drafts. A lot of names, a lot of tinkering between now and 16th of July.
4 weeks.
4 weeks from now. So we'll be very excited to the start of the season. And last thing we want to touch on is the new season gems. That's something we always look for. And I just took a picture of a tweet you tweeted, Jacob, earlier today about potentially some players from different positions that may get some game time. So talk us through it. I think I have some of them already. We talked about Berg at 4.5. Gibson, you have him in your draft at 5.0. But Sivertsen, a defender at 4.0. That would be amazing. Like Sika last season or Pereira last season as well. They were like 3.8 or 3... 4.0 and went down as well. But I did not think that we will find options at 4.0. So talk us through these names.
I honestly have to say I haven't seen much of Sivertsen play, but I went through and watched the lineups for Kristiansund in this preseason, and he was featuring a lot as a left back, and as a left back who could get a lot of game time for Kristiansund at 4.0. I think he is worth at least having on your bench, and you can maybe predict when he will start and put him in your starting lineup. Other than that, I based this tweet on players who were like the cheapest in their position. So I think we could find gems who are a bit higher priced than these, but I think Gibson could be the big hit this season at only 5.0 and could be the main striker for a team who could score some goals this season.
Amazing. And there are some names as well in midfield, like Hussein at 4.5 from Bodø/Glimt, but probably Berg is the guaranteed one. Palsson at Sandefjord and Schreifen, if I pronounce
Schreifen, yeah.
Schreifen, okay.
It's a bit difficult.
Yeah, in the Netherlands we call it Schra, so it's a Schra. Schreifen at 5.0 from Mjøndalen. He's a forward, so is he a nailed-on pick or he is?
It's difficult. He played the first half of the season last season for Mjøndalen. He got some he got substituted in the games. He scored 1 or 2 goals, I think, and then he was sent out on loan in the Obos-ligaen. And he has been injured, but now he's back. And Mjøndalen was very poor in the preseason before the coronavirus, and they don't really have a striker that scores goals. So if he gets his opportunity and could score when he gets his opportunity, I think he could be nailed as one of 2 strikers for
Nice. Well, these good options, these options could be good if, for example, you want to downgrade. If I want to downgrade Strand Larsen, for example, to a 5.0 and upgrade Castro to Haaland, that's perfectly fit for the budgets.
I see these players as like enablers, as you said.
Enablers, yeah.
You could. I don't think you can expect a lot of points for any of these, but you can have them in a team and they could get you some points, and you can downgrade them to upgrade somewhere else.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Right. So, Jacob, that's what we have for the listeners today. So it's about 40 minutes of streaming, and thanks to everyone who joined us and watched us. Of course, we have on the screen a general league code 83YYSD if you want to join our league for the Eliteserien Fantasy. But if you want to go for a Manager of the Month competition, you can always join our Patreon page where we offer a Lakey Gems tier and a Strand Larsen tier. That's funny name picks, but it shows that at $3 per month you can get access to a Slack, which is, by the way, it's a free now until 1st of July. These charge will not apply before July, and the $5 allows you to get to a Manager of the Month competition, where we get a monthly prices for the highest points per month. So it doesn't matter your overall rank, as long as you get the highest points in that month, we will get you a very nice price. So think about that. But in the meantime, you can always join our Slack page for free. I will drop the link. Once you click on the link, you will be invited to join us. We are now 5 members. We have a lot of channels where we chat and post a lot of news and statistics and some general info about Eliteserien. So think about that. You are very welcome at any time if you want to support us as well. We will continue to provide the content on YouTube as well, and we will have a podcast. We are still thinking about how we can incorporate that, because we have it on SoundCloud, but maybe we have to offer something for Apple as well users. So stay tuned. We will work this out in the next couple of weeks. And Jacob, thanks very much for joining me this time, and good luck with the tinkering, and see you in the next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we say also that I will drop your Twitter handle as well in the description so they can follow you. It's not in the video,
Yes.
it's not in the theme. My bad, but we will add you for this from the next times as well. So. Yeah, good luck everyone, and see you next time.